Good girls don't ruin big days. That's what Marlene said the moment she opened my bedroom door at 6:12 a.m. without knocking, like always. Her voice was soft, syrupy, the way she spoke when she didn't want to fight, just control. Today was Calder Boone's retirement party, a grand event. He'd spent weeks orchestrating it like it was his own coronation, and I was expected to be grateful just to be invited. "Your hair's a mess," Sable called from the hallway, arms folded across her silk robe. "Are you really going to go out like that?" I muttered something about brushing it later. Garrison appeared without a word, jingling my car keys in his hand like they belonged to him. "For safety," he said, sliding them into his jacket. "You know how you get." Marlene lingered at the doorway. "I hope you're not wearing something too conservative. It's his day, Rowena. Try to look like you're part of this family." I nodded. I always nodded. Not because I agreed, but because arguing was a luxury I couldn't afford. To anyone on the outside, I lived here by choice. An adult woman in her late 20s, staying in her childhood home to reconnect. But inside these walls, everything was carefully managed. I measured every word, every blink, every breath, like a prisoner counting footsteps in a tiny cell. And today was a celebration for someone else. But the target was unmistakably me. I was dusting the living room when it happened. The carved wooden box, dark walnut, hand-etched, a gift from my biological father, was on the shelf where I always kept it. Untouched. Sacred. Sable sauntered by, swaying her hip into the shelf like it was an accident. The box tumbled to the floor with a crack that echoed through the silence. She covered her mouth, mock surprised. "Oops." The lid had split, a corner chipped. My breath hitched. Calder stood in the doorway, arms crossed. "Still holding on to dead things, huh?" Marlene didn't look up from her phone. I sank to the floor, trying to piece it back together, my hands trembling. The glue barely held. Splinters dug into my fingers, but I didn't care. It was the last real thing I had. My phone buzzed on the coffee table. One word and I'll come. Odessa. Short. Certain. My eyes filled with tears before I could stop them. I deleted the message, just in time for Sable to lean over, smug and whispering. "Your needy pet project. Still checking in? That's cute." I swallowed it, the rage, the shame, the grief, and kept gluing. He held the dress up like a trophy. Deep red, low neckline, a slit too high for any woman planning to stand with dignity. "To honor the man of the hour," Calder said. I hesitated. "It's not me." His smile tightened. "Then maybe you shouldn't be part of the celebration at all." Every memory snapped back like a rubber band. Every school event, every college form, every decision overridden by Calder Boone. Behind him, Garrison watched from the hallway. He said nothing. He never did. Marlene stepped forward, holding the hanger with both hands. "Just put it on, please. Don't ruin this. Not today." I took the dress and walked away. I didn't realize I'd spoken aloud until I saw Calder's face shift. "I won't be their doll," I'd whispered. He was behind me in seconds. The slap came like a gunshot, sharp final. My head slammed into the doorframe. Sable gasped. Marlene covered her mouth. "Oh, God." Calder adjusted his tie like he was brushing lint from a jacket. "This is what happens when you don't listen." I stared at all of them. No one looked back. Garrison turned and left the room. Blood trickled from the corner of my lip. The bathroom lock clicked behind me like the ceiling of a vault. The mirror showed what I already felt. Swollen eye, bruising, a hairline cut near my temple. "You said you'd never become this," I whispered to my reflection. The razor was there. Not planned. Just there. On the sink from yesterday's grooming. I picked it up. My hand shook. A pause. A breath. And then I put it down. I opened the drawer. Found the concealer. Pat. Blend. Set. Mask. "He thinks this is the end of me," I said under my breath. But it's only the end of my silence. I pressed record on my phone. Just a breath. Just a whisper. Come. Send. Calder's laughter echoed down the hallway. But I didn't flinch. I opened the bathroom door. Walked out. My black eye hidden. My resolve no longer buried. The lighting inside the Brookside Country Club was too soft, too golden, like it had something to hide. My dress clung to my ribs, where bruises bloomed underneath concealer. I walked behind Calder as he greeted guests, shaking hands like a man running for office. "She's my stubborn girl," he said, grinning at one of his old colleagues. "Got a wild streak. Still learning to listen." I smiled with my mouth, not my eyes. Sable clung to his arm like a second wife, laughing too loudly, polished and poised. Marlene trailed behind us like a ghost, lips pressed thin, her gaze fixed on the floor. A group of women from the neighborhood stared at me, then looked away quickly. One whispered. Another blinked at my left cheek too long. I could feel the concealment cracking. I scanned the room instinctively. Exits left and right, patio doors cracked open for smokers, restroom past the buffet line. I wasn't here to mingle. I was calculating escape. Have you ever walked into a room and felt every pair of eyes measuring your worth? Not judging you for what you did, but for what they're afraid to admit you represent. Calder laughed loud, theatrical, tipping his drink back. "Tough love," he said to a man in a blue blazer, clapping him on the back. "That's how we did it. Discipline builds character, right?" Then, loud enough for everyone to hear, "You know what happens when she doesn't listen." He pointed at me with his glass. Boom. That shiner. These kids, huh? Some guests chuckled nervously. One woman turned red and looked away. Another man coughed and sipped his drink, pretending he hadn't heard. Silence isn't peace. It's fear in a pretty dress. Sable leaned close, whispering just behind my ear. "Try not to embarrass Dad tonight." Seriously. I didn't answer, but I heard the cowardice loud and clear. Would you have spoken up or stayed quiet like they did? My clutch buzzed. I reached for it, but Sable beat me to it. "Let me help you, you're so fidgety." She opened it and tapped around like she was straightening things. Then she accidentally tapped the voice memo button. Odessa's voice filled the air. "Or if he hurt you again, I'm coming. Just say the word." A beat of silence. Then murmurs. Heads turned. Calder's smile died on his face. Marlene stepped in quickly, whispering frantically, "Not here." "Please." I caught a glint above, a small security camera, tucked in the ceiling molding. I made a mental note. Funny how one small sound can unravel an entire lie. Then the ballroom doors opened. Odessa walked in like she owned oxygen. Hair tied back, tailored coat, heels echoing with every step. Her eyes didn't scan, they locked on me. Whispers rippled. I heard someone say, "Wasn't she banned?" Someone else muttered, "She's trouble." Odessa didn't blink. She walked right past Calder, ignoring his outstretched hand. "You look like you haven't had a friend in this room for years," she said to me, soft but clear. I almost collapsed from the truth of it. "Get her out," Calder barked. "This is a private event." Odessa smiled. "Public space, Calder. You don't own the world. Not here." I stood there frozen. Then I felt it, the first real inhale in what felt like a decade. It wasn't safety, not yet, but it was oxygen. Sable tried to pull me behind her. I stepped to Odessa's side instead. Sometimes God doesn't send an angel. Sometimes he sends the one person who remembers who you were. Calder went to the stage, furious but hiding it under performance. "Thank you all," he boomed, "for coming to honor my long, honorable career." He kept going, praising himself with such gloss you'd think he built the town with his bare hands. I watched the guests nod, laugh, toast. If I stayed silent now, I'd stay silent forever. I stepped forward. "I need to speak." Gasps. People turned. "She's emotional," Calder said. Ignore her. I raised my voice. I came here tonight with a black eye because he taught me obedience meant survival. A wave of shock surged through the crowd. I saw some step back, others lean forward. One man tried to calm Calder, who shoved him away. Marlene sat down hard on a nearby chair, hands trembling. Odessa lifted her phone. She was recording. He hit me, I said. Not once. Not just tonight. For years. Someone whispered, she's lying. Another said, look at her face. Marlene sobbed quietly. She didn't deny it. That was louder than any confession. Have you ever told the truth, knowing it could burn your whole life down? Calder snapped. You're sick, he shouted. You're unstable. Always imagining abuse, twisting things. Dad, stop, Garrison said. But Calder kept going. She begged to stay. She wanted this house. She made this up to punish me. Sable stepped in. That bruise could have been makeup. You know how she is. Calder grabbed for my wrist. Odessa blocked him with her body. Touch her again, and you'll have to hit me too. The crowd split, those who froze and those who moved forward a step. Some called security. Others pretended to check their phones. I looked at all of them. This ends tonight, I said, whether you help me or not. Security pushed through the tension. My phone buzzed. Odessa had sent me a file. The title read, This is Everything. The soft hum of the ceiling fan barely covered the click of the flash drive sliding into the law office computer. Odessa sat across from me, her shoulders squared, her eyes sharper than I'd ever seen. The screen lit up, folder after folder titled with years, 2006, 2007, 2008, all the way through 2022. Bruises, voice recordings, scanned receipts of Calder's so-called discipline retreat donations. One folder named Emergency held a 5-minute voicemail of him shouting about loyalty, obedience, image. I whispered. They told me silence was maturity. They just meant submission. Odessa didn't speak. She didn't have to. I drafted the press release myself. I used my full name. No hyphens. No qualifiers. No stepdaughter of. Just Rowena. By nightfall, local media inboxes buzzed. I watched the green indicators light up on my laptop. News desks forwarding the message. Blog links being shared. Community Facebook groups erupting. Brookside Moms of Faith. Charleston retired military wives. Someone tagged Calder's foundation page. He had scheduled a follow-up gala. But now, the RSVPs were matched with links to my bruised face. How many of us believe that collecting truth is better than keeping quiet? I glanced at Odessa's phone. One screen showed a media alert. Another, a security firm she'd hired to monitor threats. A fax arrived at Calder's office that same hour. A silent declaration. I remember everything. I promised I'd be quiet, I said aloud. But you taught me to obey. That stops tonight. It was open war now. The next morning, Calder and Sable posted their first video together. A carefully framed home office, soft piano music, pastel flowers. We are devastated by these harmful, false allegations, Calder began, voice trembling. Sable chimed in. Rowena has long struggled with distortions. Odessa, sadly, has a known grudge. Please pray for our family. A tide of sympathy posts surged. Then it turned. Thayer posted a single sentence on his feed. I saw the bruise. I heard the threats. No hashtags, just truth. Garrison said nothing, but someone noticed his LinkedIn title had changed. Former Boone Group Director. A silent resignation. I posted one thing too, a video, no filter, no edit. I stared into the lens, black and white. This is the bruise they hoped I'd hide. I pulled back my scarf. The faint scar was still there. Truth is powerful, but only if shared, Gloria Steinem once said. I didn't quote it. I lived it. Have you ever been hit by someone who expected you to stay silent, even in public? Calder's sponsors withdrew. Sable's lifestyle blog lost followers by the thousands. The night of the annual awards banquet, Thayer walked on stage as the mayor gave Calder a framed certificate. The crowd applauded out of habit until Thayer raised a recorder. Calder Boone once told me, and I quote, "We're keeping the family image. Everything else is noise." The room stilled. A click. The recording played. Calder's voice echoed through the ballroom, booming. Cold. Proud. We handle things internally. She learned that the hard way. Marlene sat in the front row, frozen. One hand clutched a pearl necklace too tightly. Tears ran down unstopped. Sable looked at her husband, her mask cracking. Rowena, standing in the back of the room, didn't move, didn't smile, just waited. When you held your tongue one time too many, what changed inside you? The following week, we filed the petition. A full legal complaint, assault, coercion, misuse of nonprofit funds. Attached were recordings, photos, doctor's notes, financial reports, sworn statements, including one from Noreen Hatch, Calder's former assistant. The courtroom was quiet as I spoke. For years, I believed you were the hero. I realize now I was just a supporting role in your story. But this is my chapter now. The jury nodded. No outburst, just the sound of truth making contact. It's not revenge. It's reclaiming what they tried to steal, your voice. 6 months later, the sign on the building read, The Haven. We opened on a Wednesday. Survivors, counselors, coffee, no glass walls, just rooms to breathe in. Odessa stood by my side in jeans and a blazer. Thayer came late, stayed back. Didn't try to be part of the headline. I caught my reflection in the glass of the new community center. No makeup, no gloss, just me, steady, standing. A local station interviewed me. I didn't perform. I didn't arrive here for applause, I said. I arrived for peace. Sometimes walking away is louder than any vengeance. As the ribbon fell from the scissors, my phone vibrated. A file. No name. Just a title. They didn't know you'd keep records.